Sambia abajo, sambia a los cuatro costados, sambia manda mi negrita, con la bandera de paz. Sambia arriba, sambia abajo, sambia a los cuatro costados, sambia manda mi negrita, con la bandera de paz. María de la Luz, saluda a su elegua, María de la Luz, saluda a su chosi, María de la Luz, saluda a su oso, María de la Luz, saluda a su achú, María de la Luz. Yo llamo a Chango, María de la Luz, llamo a Yemaya, María de la Luz, llamo a Papalú, María de la Luz. Yo llamo a Tucana, María de la Luz, que baje a la tierra, María de la Luz, para trabajar. María de la Luz. Zambia arriba, Zambia abajo, Zambia los cuatro costados. Che, mamá, para todos sus hijos que están en la tierra.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to another edition of the Divination Table. I'm your host, Michael Lennon, and tonight's guest, Ifa Abeyo, is a spiritualist who has been helping people for many years. Allow her to help you with love, money, spells, spiritual cleansings, jobs, court cases, luck, and happiness. Because on this journey of life, you get to travel with folks who all have had amazing stories to share. What's your story? Loving the lessons and blessings that have to help me on my journey of life. Many folks don't know that she's a really laid-back person who just loves to laugh and enjoy life, and we should all just learn to dance in the rain. Let me reach out to our wonderful and beautiful guest, Ifa Abeyo. Good afternoon, good evening, and how are you, beautiful? Can you hear me?
How are you, beautiful? Yes, can you hear me?
I can. I'm so happy to have you here.
It is a pleasure to be here.
I have been waiting to have you on. You are amazing. You know, I watch all of your, well, I can't say all of your conversations, but I watch a lot of your conversations.
Thank you.
You know,
some of them are very special to me.
I know, you know, and one of the things I love about you is that everything you do is from your heart. You know, you have this tremendous love for the traditions that you follow, for the religion, for all the spiritual work that you do. You know, I see how it touches you. And it also touches me, too.
Thank you. My mother said you should never brag about it. You should always show it in your walk. So thank you.
And, you know, and that's one of the things I love is, you know, you do show it with your walk. You know, it's not just the words. You walk the walk, and you let your actions speak for you.
I do try.
Now, you're a spiritualist, but you're also initiated, too, into other traditions, correct?
That is correct. I had to get scratched. So I had to get scratched in Palo. So Malekam Nasala to all of y'all good people. and I got initiated in Lukumi. That is correct. My mother and them are from New Orleans, so they are spiritualists a long line. I love it when Kendall and them say, "Don't be saying you got it from your great grandmama," and but I did.
Someplace way back.
Way back, yeah. Well, no, I get a kick out of it, but yes, that is correct.
And you run Love Supplies Botanica.
Yes, for 2 years. 2 years. They told me when I received Ifa, when I received, women received Kofa. So they told me I would have my own store. And I said, with what? For real. I was like, with what? Mefeta phone Arula all day, every day. And he said, no, someone's going to bless you with opening a store for you. I was like, okay, all righty. And it happened. It happened just as he said it. Just as the dude came down, just as it was written, it happened. And
I got the tingles.
I wound up with Love Supplies, and we sat down and we was going over names for the store. And I said, but I always tell people I love them. And my friend, he said, well, what does love mean to you? I said, lots of vital energy. He said, well, that's your name. And that's how it became.
I love that story because, there's so much love that needs to be spread around, especially in the spiritual community, not even just spiritual community, in life in general. We all need more love. We all need to share more love. And just the telling somebody you love them, has a tremendous impact, on people's everyday lives.
That's true.
Because especially in spiritual work, I mean, you get people that come to you and they have issues, they have problems, they need cleansings, they need work done. And some of these people have never actually had that from a genuine standpoint.
Listen, one guy came, and he comes every other day, and he doesn't want anything. He'll I have a pumpkin in my shop, and he will put money on the pumpkin, and he'll stand there, breathe in, and walk away. So at first I thought he was crazy. No, for real. I really did. He was crazy.
I know.
So then one day I just stopped him and I said, listen, why do you do that? He said, first of all, every time I come, I tell him, he'll say, how you doing? I always reply, I am necessary just like you. And he goes, oh, thank you. And I said, and I love you. And he says, I have to come and get that so I can be energized to deal with what I'm doing out in the street. I didn't want to ask him what he was doing out in the street because, my mama say, never ask a question you know the answer to. So I don't do that. But then he said, well, how do you know if I'm necessary? I said, because we are needed and you are supposed to be here. So when he hears that, he comes by every other day and just gets that energy, and I'll be cracking up. But he does that. So I said, oh, okay. But you'd be surprised. Like you said, a lot of people don't hear it. Or if they do hear it, they don't hear it enough.
Exactly. I made a post the other day, because there's not a lot going on in my area that I've seen spiritually in the last couple of years since I was, in hiding, since I disappeared for a little while. But I came out of work the other day, and this young African-American boy, probably early 20s, was on the steps waiting for his bus to go to work. Mm-hmm. And he saw me coming out the door, and he hurried up, and he's grabbing all his stuff, and he goes, oh, let me get out of your way. He goes, you're more important than I am. And I had to stop, right. And I put my stuff down. I said, no. I said, I'm not more important than you. Mm-hmm. We're on a level playing field. I said, you're just going to work. I'm just getting out of work. I said, we all work a hard day. Mm-hmm. Don't ever be in a hurry for me because you feel that you're not important, because you are. And it just hit me at that moment, that there's not enough love. that goes around. There's not enough people showing young generation that they matter.
Listen, today I had to write about it, right? So I love y'all. So I'm going to share this story with y'all because writing it doesn't take away from hearing it. So
Right.
I'm getting on the train and I want to get here early. So this way I can be like, okay, I can relax and, do the show. So this young brother was standing there and he was hustling, right? So I see these beads and I was like, hey, player, I like that jewelry you got on. He said, yeah, you know what they are? I said, huh? He said, yeah, these are Legua beads. What? And we was talking and I wanted to take a picture of all of them and put them on video, and they was like, nah, man, we got warrants. And I started laughing. But the youth that are out here today know more than what we can ever bargain for. But when we see them, and God bless you, and Alofi bless you, of even acknowledging and talking to him and letting him know that, because the youth that's out here today, especially in Queens, Manhattan, Brooklyn, the Bronx has their share. But all the other boroughs, even Staten Island, they wear these beads. Now, you have some people that will go off and be like, oh, the Orisha being disrespected. We all find the Orisha in our own way. Yemaya, Alegua, Oshun, all of them show up in people's lives just when they need to. These young brothers have on Alegua beads. They know who he is. They say, oh, no, he's the road opener. And I'm like, oh, wow. Let me clench my pearls. Like, hold on, stop. And I said, well, after we talked, and they were all out there, I said, listen, can you just do me a favor? You know what I'm saying? Because don't disrespect who beads. I don't care who gave them to you. You could have went and brought them yourself. Doesn't matter. He said, nah, they're good. I said, oh, okay. So I know someone gave y'all those. Okay, because they had to educate y'all. But do me a favor. Don't smoke and drink with them. He said, say no more, Ma. We'll do that. I was so grateful to see even the young brother before had Yemaya beads on. He said, nah, we need protection out here from the mother. Hold on. So not everyone is a YouTube scholar. Not everyone is a Google scholar.
Right.
Some of these young kids out here are really reading, taking the time, asking questions, because they are looking. So we as spiritualists and elders and people that walk in this religion, we have a job that we have to be responsible for. Upright, walk right, talk right. Because they don't look at what you say. They look at how you act. I always tell people, in the court system, justice is blind. But out in the street, she got eyes and she see everything. And so do I am. They are looking, watching, and seeing how you carry yourself, how you walk, what you talk. Do you say what you mean and mean what you say?
Exactly.
That was so beautiful. I was just so amazed. I was like, oh, wow. And then today I've been seeing twins. So, the Bee Gees. All today I've been seeing twins. I was like, hold on. It's going to be a great day. It is going to be a great day.
It's been a great week. It's been a great week. The following day, I come out, and here's another group, all fine, hardworking, young, African American, and they're all waiting for their bus. They're all waiting to go to their job, and this other guy that I haven't seen before, because it's always the same. They're always the same group of guys. They're all going, waiting for their ride. Turned around and looked at me, did a double take, and said, Ashe, and came over and shook my hand, gave me blessings. We sat and we talked. I was on my way home. I was exhausted, but you know what? I put my stuff down and we stood there and we talked for like an hour, and we talked about, Santeria and the Orisha and, all the things that are going on in the area that we live in up here. Mm-hmm.
But see, they watch. When someone dies around the youth, they get together, they light candles, they say prayers, they sing. Whenever you go to a memorial or whatever, wherever they die, they give respect to the dead. They'll let you know, yo, don't walk around there. Yo, watch out, walk around the corner, or don't go that way. They really are doing it. And all they need is guidance from us. Just a little bit. Not that micromanage, yo, you got to do this, you got to do that. No. Just to really show them, and give them a reason why. Because now this is the age of why, what you doing, why we doing this. Because they question everything, which is great. Because I always tell them, if they can't answer, run or beat them up. Beat them up and run. For real. Well,
I'd say run first, beat them up later.
They don't go into churches. first of all, I have a friend. His name is Slim, right? Slim is in Atlanta, and I love him so much. This young brother has done so much, right? So what they did for Easter was they collected all the games from down south. You got the MS-13s, you got the Crips, the Bloods, the outside the line or over the line, or so many. So all of them came together and they collected Easter baskets. And they went to the church to give it to them. You know, the church turned them away. They went to the Salvation Army. They turned them away because they were gang members. So what they did is everywhere there was kids, they started handing out Easter baskets, beautiful ones too. And they took pictures of the Easter baskets, not them handing it out. So our youth and our young men and women, they already know we got to help each other.
Exactly.
It ain't just about us. So it is beautiful on what they are doing out here. And I say we as people, if they're out there in the they call it the trenches, out there in the hood, out there, even if they sitting on the bus, have a kind word, give them some kind of upliftment. Let them know that they matter.
And they do matter.
And they're our tomorrow. They are our yesterdays, tomorrows, our new days. They are going to finish where we left off the same way as the ancestors stopped to give us the roadmap and the candle for us to go and do what we got to do.
Right on.
It's our responsibility. When you step in that ring of spirituality, you picking up that map and candle to say, listen, I'm going to take off where you left it off. It's a relay race. Come on, let's get running. Let's hold hands and go together.
And the sad thing is, and I felt blessed, that day, because I see these guys every day, and I hardly ever see people walk by and stop and talk to them. I pay attention. I look and I see what's going on, and I see people just drop their head or look away as they walk past these fine young guys, and they're all going to work. They're all doing the same thing we're doing on a daily basis. They're trying to get by. They're trying to take care of their family, feed their kids, have that place to live, and walk by like they're not there. And it's just, I don't get it. I don't see how you cannot, walk up and say, hey, how are you doing? What's going on? Even
a head nod. Like, okay, that works well.
I had probably 12 people after him that same day. They all just, it was like they were doing a conga line, coming up, introducing themselves, saying hi, shaking my hand, giving the brother love. And
there you go.
And we were just sitting there chatting, and the look on their face, said it all. It was just like, because somebody took time to tell us, like, look, you make a difference, you matter.
That's right. That's why I tell everybody you are necessary, just like me. And the elder taught me that, because I used to run around saying amazing. When people are like, how you doing? I'm amazing, just like you. So this elder that's been crowned Shango Cabo Sile for about 40-something years said, no, don't trap me. I was like, what? He said, don't trap me. Amazing is amazing. I said, okay, I ain't mean that. He said, tell people that they are necessary. I said, why? He said, because everybody needs to know they're needed. I said, oh, okay. So I took that and started running with it.
And that's a beautiful thing, and I might have to do that myself. I'm going to steal it from you. But I'll give you props. I always remember him. I was in Atlanta at a drumming, and he was there, and he drummed, and it was so beautiful. So I always remember that story. And when people ask me, well, why do you say it? Because the elder told me to say it. And I always give him props. Always. But yeah, he was crowned Shango. I would see like, oh my goodness. But yeah. So I do pass things on because people need to know they are needed. They do, especially the young, as spiritual people, and not even as spiritual people, just people that are just good-hearted, God-loving, whatever God you believe in, need to show people the right lessons in life. To not put people down, to not, use whatever book or anything else for your prejudices or your racism or any other of your hatred, to find justification. God's ultimate message is to love people, love one another. Treat us the same way that you treat yourself.
That's why I love Arula. That when I found out who he was, and a young woman, her name is Ifa Abeyo, really explained it to me, and it was really great. And then my godfather, my padrino, and them, they even took it further. Arula turns no one away. When you sit at that mat and you came for some help, he turns no one away. That is beautiful. So why can't we be like that? If they're here to help, and we can. Now, if we can't help them, don't hurt them. Send them somewhere where they can get help. I'm a strong believer of that. If I can't help you, I'll send you somewhere where you can.
And I am as well.
Yeah.
Some people are good at certain things. I can't work with people that have been in battered relationships, or domestic violence. I have to send them to somebody that, is skilled in those areas and is a little bit more sensitive. And a lot of times, they are women, and having a male influence doesn't really work for them most of the time. So, you find people that help them, that are in areas that can provide them with the necessary assistance that they need, and somebody that can empower them.
Listen, I don't have a problem with sending people to somewhere else, or saying, hey, such and such, sometimes I forget to email the person and say, hey, this person want to talk to you. But that person will usually email me, hey, this person? Yeah, I forgot, my bag. Because I get my blind moment. So, work with me here. But because I know I can't save the world. I love what Chris Rock said. Chris Rock said, lifting the couch is heavy, but it becomes lighter when you lift it with others. So I can't always do it by myself. That's why we're all in this together. And there's always room at the table. So we can all sit, eat, help, heal, do all of that. I'm a strong believer for that. I get a lot of slack, but it's okay. I don't care. I love y'all, so I always have to talk the way I was raised. So my mom and them always tell me, what people eat don't make me shit. So they can have their way of doing things. I got mine. Listen, I'm country dumb, southern bred. I come up here. I love New York. I love Atlanta. I love New Orleans. And my god sister said, when you're on the phone with your family, you sound so southern. I don't hear it no more. I haven't heard it in a long time. I think I sound up north. Hey,
we rub off on you.
But I enjoy it. I enjoy just talking to people and just helping them. But, sometimes they call me country dumb, but that's okay. I'm good with that. You can call me whatever you want. Just don't call me late for dinner. That's the only thing I say. So it works for me.
You are a beautiful soul, and I just absolutely love you. And I love chatting with you when I see you online, and we get into our little conversations.
What? Blame my parents. Blame my parents. I tell them.
No. Thank your parents.
Yes, and this lady. She I always call people ma'am and sir or mister, right? And she said, don't call me ma'am. I said, listen, if you want a problem with that, go down there to New Orleans, 504 in Amen, Louisiana, dig them up and tell them for me not to call you that. Because I don't want them whooping my ass when they say, why you ain't say that? So let them get you. Okay, call me ma'am. I said, anyway. My children do it, and they're all grown. My son is 34, my daughter's 32, my other daughter's 29, the other one is 28. They still say yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir, or Mr. and Mrs. They still say it. My grandkids say it. I got 9, by the way, and I just sit back and say, wow. But they say it. They say it. And I was talking to a sister today because she wanted to know about conjure, and somebody told her she got to pay all this money to get. I said, ain't no initiation in root work and conjure. She said, oh, no. I said, not that I heard of. Now, if you want to call my auntie, she might lose her mind and laugh. But there's no initiation. You can give an offering to the person that's teaching you. Now, yeah, I'm a great believer of that. And it may be some people saying, no, it's not like that. Listen, I'm going to listen to my 80-year-old aunt with blonde hair and blue eyes. And she got that blue ring around there before I listen to anybody else because she has lived it. I didn't. I'm learning.
And there's a lot of, Candelo says it all the time, fuckery, especially when it comes to initiations, and there are things that you don't need initiations in. You don't need them to work with your own ancestors. You don't need them for root work.
No, initiation. Now, a gongon is different.
Yes.
But to get initiated in ancestor worship, I know you lying. I said, baby. Stay out of all those groups. And if you do, go there and learn and don't say nothing. Just watch or read or go and research. Ask people, But don't sit there and pay $3,000-$4,000 to get initiated in ancestor worship. I'm going to get initiated to talk to my own mama and them. I know you lying. I said, ain't no way in hell. Ain't no way. I know you lying. But people do it.
Charles Porterfield in the group was sitting there saying, my mama taught us that it doesn't matter what they call you. What matters is what you answer to.
What you answer to. That is correct. That is correct. That's twin. That's twin. I call him twin. I was at the New York Gala, right? And I'm sitting next to him. And they were talking about cursing. Auntie was doing her thing. And they was talking about... what would you do to curse somebody? So me and him was sitting there saying, just kill him. He was sitting there at church. I said, twin? Oh, my God, I love him. That's my twin right there. That's my twin. I love him. He is funny as all out. I said, ooh, he my twin. That's my twin.
Now, you're also a diviner, too, right? I said, you're also a diviner as well, right?
Yes, that is true. So... this is my story. I can't tell nobody else's story but my own.
That's all right. That's what you're here for.
My brother said when I was young, right? My brother, he's the oldest. We call him Rob. In the South, if you're born with a veil over your face, you are considered a seer automatically by birth. And a veil means that extra skin over your face. My brother was born with that, right? I wasn't. My brother was born with that veil. Now, to go back, my mother's the oldest out of 21 children. She passed away, Ifa Abeyo, God bless the dead. So my aunts and all of them are 11. It was 11 girls and 10 boys, right? My grandfather had 2 wives, so don't judge us. He has 2 cemeteries, and my grandmother's on one side. He's in the middle, and when his other wife, my other grandmother, she's still alive. When she dies, she'll be buried. He's in between both his wives because that's how much he loved them. So I can't make these stories up. I'm not that bright. So my brother and them said, my mom and them when she was alive. So my brother was born with a veil. My sister was born almost breech, because it's 5 of them. My mother had 5 children. When I was born, she said she was laying on the bed, her and my father, I can't make these stories up, was sitting there smoking a joint. Yeah, I'm telling on them. I'm telling their business. And she said, I walked through, she was pregnant. She said she was 9 months pregnant. She said, I walked through the door and I clammed on her belly and I disappeared. I can't make it. I said, when she told me, I said, what was y'all smoking? Because I would love to smoke that. Like, that's some stuff that only me and God and everybody, I would sell that, but. So I had a white dress and I had my hair done, right? And I was 1 year old. My father, when I was born, my father wore the same dress and took a picture. I never saw the picture until my pops passed away. God bless the dead, which is 4 years. It'll be 4 years. And my cousin came and said, I was told to give these to you. And it was pictures of me. And he said, that's the picture that Uncle Billy, said he saw you in a vision. I said, both of y'all had the same vision? He said, yeah. So my brother said, you would tell people things. And my mother would always, she didn't care because they was in root work, conjure, voodoo, all of that, but in New Orleans. And I was like, get out of here. So the first time I ever had a vision, we were in New Orleans. And it was over 19 years ago. My aunt told my mother, I can't wait to come. They call my mother Bobby. So she said, I can't wait to come up there and see you, Bobby. And I turned and I looked at her and said, the day you come up to New York will be to see your sister in a casket. I saw my mother laying there. I knew what color the casket was and everything. It bugged me out. They all went into the kitchen, and my grandmother Merle's kitchen, and they were sitting there talking. So I was standing there, and they said, get out. And they said, what are we going to do with her? And they was all sitting there, the sisters and all of them. And my mother came out and she said, you're going to have a rough life, but I won't be there to witness it. And my mother didn't. She passed away. So, yeah. So I've always been visions, but I never paid attention to them. So I smoked a lot of weed. I thought I was crazy as cat shit. I did. And I didn't know what to do or how to deal with it until I started getting older and meeting people that played like my mother and would explain it to me. So yes. I hope that answers that.
So, what's your preferred method of divination these days?
I use tarot cards, coins, bolts.
You say boats?
Bolts, nuts, bolts.
Oh, nuts and bolts. Okay.
Yeah, screws, a cigar. And I don't like touching people because when I touch them, I see their lives. So I don't like touching people. I hug you once in a blue. I hug you, but I don't like touching people. I really don't. I really do not.
Well, I can't say much because, I've read for people for years and I've worked in botanicas. I have never had a client touch my cards. I don't let them shuffle. I don't let them cut. I let them sit there and I do it all.
No, shuffle, play with them, talk to them, do whatever. So this is a free lesson on Tarot 101. And this came from my mama and them. Okay, so y'all feel free to use it. And this is how I taught my children. I taught my children how to read tarot when my son was 10, my daughter was 8, my other daughter was 7. My baby daughter reads rune stones, and I don't know nothing about runes. My best friend...
Me neither, and I'm Irish.
I don't know nothing about runes. I can't tell you how to do them. I don't know. But my best friend that lives in Arizona taught my daughter. And my daughter found a full set one day, and that became hers. But I taught them how to read tarots. The reason why when you go into stores, then they have the display. Because once you shuffle them, you open them up, they become yours because they can't really sell them. But they don't like to tell you that because now you're putting your energy in it. That's
right.
One. And I've worked in too many spiritual stores to know that one. And you shuffle them, you sleep on them. That's how my mama taught us. And you do like a little ceremony to make them a part of you. And every day you play with them, touch them, get familiar with them, listen to them speak, look at the full picture. Don't go by the book, but the book is just the basic. But look at it. Because when you read tarot, you learn about alchemy, colors, numerology. Like the door opens for everything.
I can't get the tarot down.
For real?
Yeah.
Some people can't. Some people can do bones. Some people can do cigars. My friend Ozzy do the tea and the egg, and I be like, you put an egg in a cup, I'm gonna stir it up and fry it, put some grits with it. But he can do it. He can. People read. I can't read with water. I can't. I'm not even gonna lie to you. The first time this person I knew put water in the cup, I drank it, and he was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Oh, I thought you was giving me some water." But I can't read the water. I can't. What I have to do is take my glasses off, and then I can see. And I can't see. My eyesight is shot. So when I take my glasses off, then I can see everything. But when I put my glasses on, I see regular, and that's it. But yeah, no.
Well, it's funny because I'm like that with tea leaves because I also read the tea leaves in the teacup. But if I've got my glasses on, I can't see anything. I have to take my glasses off so that I can deliberately get my blur on, so to say, so I can see shapes and images. Yeah. And some of the things that show up are like scary spot on with things that are going on, in people's lives. And it's just like, I think everybody has to find their own type of divination. Like, I tried with tarot for years, and, I was always black and white. Everything was, my initial cards were from the 1850s, and they were just black and white, absolutely no color, and I got used to reading that way. And I tried learning tarot, and it's just like, man, there's just so much going on. There's so many colors and shapes, and
see, it opens up.
I couldn't do it.
I fell in love with tarot with my friend Rach. Pulled out the deck, and she had the Rider-Waite deck. And I was like, wow, that's cool. And she brought me my first deck. And I was reading, and then it became addictive. Oh, man. That's why when Michelle, Mama, started talking about tarot, and I was like, oh, my God, I love her. And in my reading, when you get initiated and you get your reading, it was like you need to get bones and shells, like you need to read those. But I never pursued it because I didn't know nobody to read bones or nothing. Like I didn't know nobody. So I was like, okay, eventually. When I went to the Conjure Gala and I saw this lady, and here she is, and she explained it like I can do it in less than 5 seconds. But my granddaughter that's 2 years old, I could put on the floor and she can do it and play with it. I said, yo, I love her. That's my mother. I love her. I don't even know her. I love her. I stayed under that lady like, hi, Mom. And I don't call nobody Mom. I call you lady, or of course my madrina. That's my spiritual mother. But everybody else is, hey, lady, what up, auntie? Hey, cousin. For you to say it for me and for my kids or anybody that know me here, you say, yo, she called you Mom. They'll be like, oh, you must be special. That lady is really special. I don't even know her from a hill of beans. I don't even care. I love her. I'll be like, hey, Mom.
Michelle's awesome.
So simple. Yes, it was so simple. And she gave us the little sample for us to build our. I said, I can't go in people's houses because I go through their drawers and start taking stuff. I have to be mindful. No, I will. I'll be like, you don't want this earring, but each piece has to speak to me, and it has to tell a story. So I was like, let me back up because I need to build this so right that. But I know she sells sets, and all of them, they all sell sets, and it is so great, and I was grateful for it. And I was like, maybe I'll look through and get a set from her and add that on. Like, oh my goodness. But it was really mind blowing for me. It really was.
It was for me too, because I had a one-on-one with Andre Laguerre, Ambrosine, and
Yes.
one of the biggest things that I took away was getting out of my own way and out of my own head. And once I did, for me, it boiled right down to my own meanings for each piece, as well as a combination of what I've always done, which is symbolic divination. The certain images and the charms that I use, have very specific symbolic meanings for me. So once I got out of my head, I started looking at my set, and I was just like, wow, this isn't as difficult as I was trying to make it out to be. It actually became very, very fluid. And my set has grown. I mean, I've got to get a new basket now because my basket's no longer big enough for my bones. I think I've got 150 pieces now.
She had sets all out, and I'm sitting there, I'm looking, I said, what is all this? And they was like, oh, she reads that. I said, hold on. Me and Layla were sitting there, and I'm sitting there like, okay, what she get ready to do? And when she did that, man, you think the world opened up. Like, Alofi himself came down and said, see, I told you I got you. I was like, oh my goodness. I was like a kid in a candy store. I was so open. I said, I like this lady. I come to find out I was in the group and everything. I even paid attention. I said, I know I'm wrong. I'm wrong. But yeah.
You're never wrong. We just are always catching up. And bones are just like our altars. They start out with this little tiny thing, in the corner someplace with just one little glass, a little candle. Next thing you know, it's going down the hallway, out the door, into the bathroom, up above the toilet.
Listen, a young sister, bless your mouth, a young sister came there today, and she was just curious. And she was like, I don't know if I'm building a right ancestor altar. I said, well, who was your ancestors? And you give them what you give them. Now, most people put coffee up there. They put a candle. And we didn't talk about it both of them. We talk about an ancestor altar. And all the things from their ancestors, because people would tell them. And she said, no, they told me in the group, I have to put this, I have to put that. I said, let me tell you my ancestor altar. My mother, back in the day, and when she was coming up, they drank Gordon's gin. That's what I put up there. And she would like liver wish and chocolate chip cookies. My father drank black coffee with sugar and ice, and he would eat chocolate chip cookies. My brother loved ketchup on everything. I could put a bottle of ketchup up there so quick. I have to give them what they liked when they were living.
Yes.
That's my ancestor altar. I can't put up St. Jude or somebody that I don't know. I can't. I don't know how. So I call her my spiritual goddaughter. Her name is Jess. They told her to put coffee, to put some rum, to put this. And I said, well, what your mother drink? She said Coca-Cola soda. She said, because my mother never drank coffee. Like, she hated coffee. I said, do you feel a connection with your altar? She's like, no. She said, I just walked by it. I said, well, your mama drank what? She said, Coca-Cola. I said, put a whole bunch of bottles of Coca-Cola up there. She did. She said, listen, that altar buzzed to me like, yo, I'm so connected. We have to learn to listen to our ancestors, our own egos. Who is your spirits are not mine. Even if we related, we may not, my auntie didn't favor you. And I don't care what nobody say. They can say, no, that's wrong. No. I'm going to put the ones that I know that's from my house, that's from my family, that's from my mama and them. I'm going to put them up there. Even the thugs, the crazies, all that. Everybody going up there. Because I don't know who might be helping me today, tomorrow. So the young lady, she was like, well, what if you have a problem? I said, let me break you down like this so you'll understand. If I got a problem with money, my father was the provider. So I'll call him. If I got a problem with the family, I call my mother because she was the backbone. If I got a problem with fighting or whatever or arguing, I call my brother. Because these are the ones that I know. If there's something that's out of place or mystical, I call my grandmother because in the kitchen she would read cards when my grandfather would go to work. So I know who to call and why to call them.
Exactly.
And now you need to do your history and find out who your family is. Now, for those people that go, well, I'm adopted and I don't know my family, who raised you? Who raised you? And when you start getting close to that altar, your spirits will start presenting themselves physically, spiritually, in your dream. They're going to walk with you. They're going to let you know we here. Now, y'all can say, no, no, no. I'm saying yes, yes, yes. Yes, because that's how I go.
And it's one of those things, it's just like life. With our conversation that we had a little while ago, reference to, everybody is needed. Everybody is necessary. Everybody is important. You might not like, Uncle Hoo-Hoo or whatever name he has. He may have been, a nasty person growing up. He might have been belligerent. He might have been, argumentative. But, there are times when you need that energy, and those are the people that you call on. So you call on the ones that you need for particular work. I have one, he guards my door. He didn't like nobody. Of course, nobody's still coming in my house. But,
see?
Every one of them has a particular place on your altar, whether you like them or didn't like them, whether you have an issue or not. Being that they have passed, they still want the best for your life.
Listen, my auntie, right? Her name Aunt Lou. We call her Auntie Lou. She live in Amen, Louisiana. So take it up with her. She said, I remember when I was little and I said, no, I'm scared. She said, baby, you never be scared of the dead. The living, they crazy as cat shit. But the dead, I don't even care who they are. When they get on that side, they try their best to make things right over here. So I said, okay. And I went with that. And I was telling the young lady today, and she was like, thank you. I said, no, thank your spirits, because you walked over here. I don't believe in coincidences. Everybody come to somebody when their spirits need them to know what they need to be doing.
Exactly. And there are so many people afraid of, as Candela put it, Uncle Pookie. It's just like, these are your family, and just like every family, we all have, the crazy or the drunk or the, one that's angry. And
I got a sister. My godmother be laughing. I got a sister. I love her to death. I got a sister, but if she walk in my house, she got to clap her hands if she got to use the bathroom. So they said, well, why? Because she a steal. And I know if her ass died today or tomorrow, she gonna be my thief that I need to go and get some things, because she'll tell you. And everybody be like, well, why you gotta clap your hands? Because she'll steal the sweet out of sugar. She sure will. So she clap her hands until she get in the bathroom, close that door. When she come out, she still clap her hands. Because if you clap, you won't steal. I ain't playing. I don't play. Listen, I put up a post. Who in your family won't say nothing, like they'll keep a quiet tongue? I said none of my mama and them kids, not even my nieces and nephews. If it's on your mind, say it out your mouth. Deal with it. But yeah, my sister, she got to clap every time she walk in my house. Clapping, mama, don't stop, because once they stop clapping, they in there stealing. Yeah, we got those.
You gotta get one of those anklets with bells.
No, she good. She got it. She made, no, for real, I can't make this up. I love her. She my sister. She got a hook in her teeth. She, like the it looks like a hook, right? Her teeth is the way the dentist did it, and she can even pop off those little magnets that's on the clothes and take that. She don't play. She do not play. She's professional. I tell you, she'll steal a sweet out of sugar. Whatever ain't nailed, glued, bent down, she'll take it with her. No, for real. I love her to death. She's my baby sister. I love her. But, honey, she will steal anything. And I said, boo-boo, no. But listen, we from the South. We mix our crazies, our thieves, everybody. They walk amongst everybody else, and we ain't ashamed of them. Not at all. They family. Blood recognize blood. I'm not going to be ashamed of them. Talk about you in your face, behind your back, and I'm going to let you know you my sister. I love you to death. But, yeah, we don't hide none of our stuff. Why? We ain't ashamed of them. Oh. Name one of them.
And we all got them. I mean.
Yeah, most people hide theirs in the closet. I don't, honey.
It's like we all have them. It's one of those things that, you can't deny there's a crazy in almost every family. There's a drunk. There's a thief,
They see you out in the street. Hey! You be like, God damn it.
Oh, you haven't worked with that one spirit that helps you hide, huh?
What? Oh, my goodness. I be dying, though. I love them. But spiritually, yeah, I do come from a spiritual family, but theirs is different. I mean, when you do, like, if a broom fall in our house, it's normal for us. Most people be like, oh my God, that's conjure, that's what. But we're so used to it that it's like second nature. So we already know somebody coming, hide your money that you don't want to lend out. Put your kids to sleep because they may be coming with a bottle or something. So we already know. If you spill salt, throw it over your shoulder. You don't need no bad luck. Now, if pepper spill, we getting the hell out of there. Because everybody in that house is getting ready to argue. So we leaving. But it's second nature for us. If you drop money, we'll step on it. Money on the floor mean money out the door. Don't put it with the rest of your money, because that money get ready to leave. So we have we have sayings. There's a song that they taught us when we was little. When you know how a hearse ride by, most people in the South, they grab buttons. Right? So you'll grab a button, and if the person that's next to you, if they don't have a button on their shirt, you grab two buttons. But the one thing you don't do is laugh. So the song was, never laugh when a coffin go by, or you may be the next to die. They wrap you up in the bloody sheets. They bury you almost 60 feet deep. The worms will crawl in, the worms will crawl out, eating your guts and spitting them out. Never laugh when a coffin go by, or you will be the next to die. That is a song they taught us when we was kids, so we don't laugh at all. It is embedded in my grandchildren, my nieces, my nephews, everybody, and they take it hard. Don't go laugh, yo man, shut up.
Well, when I was growing up, my younger brother and I, we used to play the hold your breath game every time we drove by a cemetery. And the whole premise basically was, we're going by a cemetery, don't breathe. You don't want anything to come and pull you in. It's not our time yet. And, and I still do it to this day, even though I go in them now. But, when I drive by, I always hold my breath. Of course, I'm always praying when I do the same. But it's one of those things that, when these are ingrained in you growing up, it is second nature. Candela was saying that, when the thief in the family, passes, he's going to go and take some dirt and make some Four Thieves vinegar out of it.
There you go. There you go.
Because you use that energy, and you use it to help yourself in life and your ancestors. Being a diviner, we pull upon all the energies or current, from all the different ancestors, guides, spirits that we work with to help elevate people, to help their lives become better, to be able to provide and give them the information that they need to get from point.
Listen, we would my mother always told us whenever we feel lonely or not there with our feeling distant from our relatives and our family, to grab some New Orleans dirt. So a friend of mine went to New Orleans and got the dirt. Hello?
What'd you do? I'm hearing the police. Did somebody coming after you?
No. That's outside. Listen, I'm in New York.
I know. I'm just teasing. They need some healing.
But yeah, so when my mother always say, when you feel like you are left out, like you said, a diviner always pulls all energy. So when I feel distant, or if I feel like I'm not next to my family, I grab my New Orleans dirt and rub my hands in it, because a friend of mine went to New Orleans and brought me back some dirt. I was like, thank you.
And you need that. Sometimes you need to have something from where you are from. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm born and raised where I live now in Troy. And I live in a family house. This was my great aunt's house when I was growing up. I spent a lot of time here. My grandmother lived a block away. I was born a block away from there. I'm literally, a 3-block radius. I'm still growing up in the same, town, the same area, the same blocks. A lot of my neighbors I've known since I was a child.
Sweet.
I'm still looking forward to going to Florida, but.
Okay. Sweet, though. That's beautiful. Where we go, it is everybody. Because my mother was known for feeding everybody. When she left and came from New Orleans up here, she brought New Orleans with her. For real. People started eating crawfish. People was eating gumbo, like red beans and rice. She was doing all that.
Making me hungry.
She would. And honey, those people, even when she would go down south and come back up, she would bring bags of crawfish, and those people would sit there and eat it. I used to be like, Lord have mercy. Look at these people.
You wouldn't get me away from a table.
But the one thing she didn't want was us to be judged. So my friends and them always thought we was from New York. They didn't know, because when you say you from New Orleans back in the day, we talking years ago, you were known as the voodoo, the root worker, the hoodoo worker. So back then it wasn't good, because the churches and everybody, like they would seclude you. You wouldn't be a part of anything. So my mother didn't, whatever was done, we didn't go outside and tell nobody. It wasn't, we couldn't share that part, And I remember when I did my first card reading in front of the house, in front of my mama's house, and she was sitting on the top of the stairs, and she said, okay, go ahead. And that's when she just started sharing, just telling us. But before, she didn't want to, because people can be cruel. People back in the day, people can be cruel. My brother is left-handed. Now, we talking 40 years ago. They would beat my brother in school. They would beat him with the ruler so he could write with his right hand. So I used to write with my left hand, too, and be like, you hit me, I'm telling my mama, I ain't playing. So people can be cruel when they don't know what it is. Fear is a monster when they don't know what it is, especially back in the day. So, but now we embrace all of it. And when people's like, oh my God, you really are from New Orleans. Yeah, my family is from New Orleans. That's where we from. My aunt and them is down there. My family is down there. My sister and brother go down there more than I do. And they down there. So we can't deny them.
We can't.
So now, my cousin is in Texas. I don't know where April and them is. I know they in Texas. But we can't deny them. We can't deny them.
And Christine Tegler, who's in our chat group, said, people are still awful and cruel. And, they still are. They still haven't gotten to that point in life where they have elevated, where they have been love and accept and, live the life that God has put there, and the lessons. Like, even if you look at the Bible, for me, it's a book of love stories. It's a book of, hey, here's some lessons that you should learn to live a better life.
Listen, for us, it's a book of spells.
Well, I wasn't going to go there. No.
For us, it's a book of spells.
The Psalms.
The young lady was like, she was trying to get her great-grandmother's Bible, but her grandmother don't want to give it up. I said, listen, take you a Bible and go to the church. When they having a ceremony, a service, put that Bible down there by your feet with some olive oil and sit there and go through the praise and worship, go through the prayers, go through the word being given, go through the benediction, all of that. Then pick that Bible up, wipe that thing off with some oil and start writing names in there and build your own. She was like, oh, I can do that. You do whatever you want to, honey. There's no rule in conjure work. Listen, as long as you are justifiable, sometimes you don't have to be justifiable. As long as you, first of all, to me, as long as you know that you're doing whatever to survive, that's what those people did. Our ancestors had to do things so they could survive. Now, I'm going to tell y'all a story, and then y'all take it as y'all want. But this story came from my Aunt Louise and them and my mama and them, and we was young when they told us this. So I'm going to share this story with y'all because I told this today, and I think this is a great story so y'all can hear.
I'm a listener.
One of the things, because she said, we was talking about menstruation blood and how they use it in spells and stuff, right? I said, listen, my aunt told me a different version. And so all of y'all, if y'all think this ain't right, y'all go down there to New Orleans, Amen, Louisiana, or 504, and y'all tell her, and she gonna look at y'all and say, I know you lying. Get on out my face. So I'd rather deal with wisdom before I deal with anything else. Now, this is the story she told me. First of all, menstruation blood is the blood to release, right? You clean yourself, correct? We all know that, right? So how can something that released to get away from you bring something back to you? That's one. So the greatest story that was ever told that we haven't fought because back then of the slaves. Now, all y'all people, y'all can say, no, but I'm going still with my aunt. So back in the day when the slave women and stuff, you know how those old women, they wear aprons, right? So the aprons was worn. We talking about New Orleans back in them, right? So they sharing the story. So don't get me. Sometimes the aprons was worn because back then they didn't have sanitary napkins and tampons and all that. So what they did was use cloth. Correct?
Right.
Y'all hearing me? Okay. So they would take that cloth and use it, and they used that washing board to clean with that boric soap and all that soap back in the day. That was the Castile or whatever it is. They would clean that and hang it out, and they'd change their clothes as they go along. But back then, we didn't have salt and pepper. What we had was different herbs in our gardens that we would, season our greens and our pig feed and all of that, what we cooked back then. So chamomile, y'all know, is to make you relax. Mint, to also put you in a relaxed mode. So many different things, right? So when Master would come home from being out in the field, he hungry, he tired, he sweaty, he mad. Correct? Okay, we all agree on that. So the wife would come and be like, baby or honey or mister, because some of the women would call their husbands mister, I need to go, and he'll yell at her, cuss her out, and she'll be mad. But the women in the kitchen would make a meal, right? Get the babies to fan them and maybe soak his feet, take his boots off and leave them outside. Hence why Southern people don't let you wear shoes in their house. Take those boots outside, clean this out for Master. And they'll sit there and feed them. And then after they finish, they give him a little rag, wash his face and his neck to get him prepared. And they feed him. And then at the end, he get his pipe or his cigar, and they give him maybe a small swig of brandy. We all agree with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, after you get all that, you relax, right? So then they'll go and say, Master, can we go over to Master Tom's house to see our children in them and see our chaps in them? Because when you see our loved ones in a long time, our kinfolk, he say, oh, go ahead and take such and such with you, but be back here before dawn. So they'll go and see who they had to see, and they come back. Correct? Okay. Now the wife would be mad. Now, mama and them is in the kitchen. They cooking. They use them little pockets to pull out those little herbs and they taste it because we didn't have measuring cups. We taste, you know where the pinch is and this and that, and they put it in there, right? But the wife would want to know, so we wouldn't tell them. Now, in the process of you cooking, if you're bleeding, of course you're going to have an accident because we ain't got pads and stuff back there. So what we'd do is we'd turn that skirt around until we get a chance because we don't want our greens and stuff to burn. And we'll put the apron in front until we get out there, we clean the stuff and we get that extra set and we throw that on. Oh, she putting period blood in his food. That's why he stayed. Now, some of y'all can argue with it, and y'all go right ahead. But there's nothing on this planet that'll make me believe something that a woman cleans her body, and that blood is to release. If anything that you are taking away from your body, you think it's going to bring a man, it's taken away. And then you will have some people that'll say, oh, but I use it, and he stays. So when the young lady said that, I said, now look at the relationship. Most of the time, they need a place to live. They know that this woman got some money. They ain't trying to go back and live with their mama and them. And even the broke clock is right 2 times out the day. Because sometimes your spirit say, listen, I'm just tired. Give it to her. Give it to him. But that's about what my auntie and them say. So they never fought it. They always, what my aunt says, we never fought that rumor. But when you go into a woman's house, colored, southern, even northern, you smell bleach, pine, they clean the kitchen, they mop down the floor, they mop down the oven, they do all of that. They not nasty. They not.
No,
they take care. Now, they use their period blood, my mom and them did, for their roses. They use their period blood they add a little bit in for their roses. For things to grow, that I give it to them. And my mother and them had the best roses that on the block of 110, 13, 160th Street in South Jamaica, Queens. She showed did. Had a garden and she'll use that. They use their morning piss to clean the front of their porch to protect them. And
a lot of traditions do that.
Yes. Now, they didn't use it to keep nobody. Now, most people didn't want you to eat at nobody's house, and they just let that lie roll. That's what my aunt said. She said because if such and such, first of all, they didn't do it because they didn't want you to eat at no one's house because it was dirty. Because you knew if back in the day, they talk, they gossip, but if somebody had problems with their kids, they'd go over there and help them. But they didn't want you to eat at no one's house because they was barely making it or barely getting by. So kids we would crack on each other. That's why your mother ain't got no food. That's why you ain't got this. So they didn't want that. Don't eat over there. I don't want you eating in that house. But they knew that was the bottom line. They couldn't afford it. Maybe their husband got laid off, or they didn't get no stamps back then, or they didn't get such and such, or they didn't have enough. They got them 9 children, and they been eating rice and salmon, because that's the quickest colored food in the world, or rice and beans, and they need every ounce they can get. So
there's not enough to go around, you know. So you go and you help, you know, your friends, you help your family, but when it comes to, you know, putting them out or stretching what they already have, you know, it was not something that was done. You know, you can't put somebody into a worse situation food-wise. You know, and people misunderstand a lot, you know, of culture, you know, and things that have taken place, you know, back in the day.
Yeah, but I always sit at my aunts and them feet. I always, you know, we always, as kids, we would sit around and they would tell us stories of back in the day, and they'd tell us the reason why, and, you know, why you did this or why this happened. So they did tell us that they did. My mother told us stories of New Orleans when she was a young girl coming up. And then when we went over there, we saw it. She'd show us this, that. There's a thing called the bric-a-brac in English, Louisiana. Yeah, the bric-a-bush. Let me say it right, as my son-in-law would make sure I say it. And that's where they would bury all the aborted or miscarried babies or the babies that died. And it is a beautiful piece of land. Oh, baby, it's so beautiful. It is beautiful, green, beautiful. But that's where they buried all the babies, in a sackcloth. And they did a ceremony so this baby can go in peace. So the mama won't be written when she die. I said, that is beautiful. And it is. And it's right there. I said, when I go back down there, I'm going to take a picture. And my auntie said, no, you take a picture of that. You don't disrespect the dead. So I didn't take a picture. So I said, okay, I'll just tell the story. But yeah.
And, you know, from the standpoint of, divination, I'm glad this entire conversation has taken place because, where our roots lie, is a very huge part of us as a diviner.
Yes.
Knowing your ancestors, knowing the energies that you pull from, knowing the stories that have taken place. It's one of those things that, how can you work any kind of spiritual work or any kind of divination without knowing, without being able to pull on that energy? Because you need to be able to connect, and you need to understand, if you don't understand about your culture, your heritage, your history, family legacies, what does that say about a person as a diviner or as a spiritual worker? They're pulling on empty energy if they don't, because they don't know how to connect to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the story is beautiful. I mean, you had to ask if I was still there.
I give honor to my auntie and them. Listen, when you walk in a house, that's why I tell people, I said, listen, you go to my auntie house, she going to read you before you walk in the door. You can't walk through the front door because you're not the president, you're not important. You walk through the side or the back. You don't walk through the front. And they got the living room. They really believe in that. If you ain't company, you can't sit in that living room. Sit your ass in the back with everybody else or in the kitchen,
And most of the time, it's the kitchen.
Yeah. Now, where I come from, right, the kitchen is the healing place. My mother and them will all sit around, right? This is when I learned that, wow, I thought I was grown, and I found out I wasn't grown. When you sit at that kitchen, you got somebody cutting up greens, you got somebody shelling peas or snapping beans, and you got somebody that might be watching the turkey or the ham or whatever, somebody on there frying chicken, or you boiling the eggs and the potatoes to make potato salad, or you mixing the noodles up to make that macaroni and cheese. But everybody got a job in that kitchen. Nobody, you move like one body, right? That's what we was taught. And we'll be on the side. My mother and them would get buckets. Me, my sister, all of us on the side, and we cleaning chitlins. Oh, I hated cleaning chitlins, but it was better than doing everything else, because at the end you had to take a bath in tomato sauce so that smell could get off of you. Because, ooh, baby, you don't want that smell on you, not at all. So you will clean all these chitlins, and you get big buckets, and you think you're going to get a lot, but child, by the time you cook down, you be like, you just got a plate full. So we was raised on pork. I don't eat pork now. No, I don't eat no meat. But back then, you cleaned chitlins, you did all of that. And you would talk. Women would talk. The men would be outside. They'd be in the backyard. The kids would be, my mother used to have a old-time ice cream, the Turner with the ice or that. And they'd make that and pour it in there. And the kids, we would, who was the strongest. So we had to turn it. And the harder it get, the colder it's getting. And it become hard. So, everybody had to be Hercules back then. But the women would sit down and they'd talk. Not gossip, talk. So you had the elder, which was my mother then. Back then, let me go back a little further, which was my grandmother. Her name was Maddie. We called her Medea. Every Southern person always had a Medea, so we call her Medea, but her name was Maddie. And they would talk about their kids, their husband, their sex lives. Nothing was exempt in the kitchen. And the one thing you didn't do is take it out in the street. What was said in there, you would give a problem, and somebody from the oldest to the youngest would give you an antidote. You talked about your badass kids, your wayward husband, your shorty of a man, my little side piece. You talked about everything. Nothing was exempt, and you got healing in there. And they told you. Most people say, oh, but that was root work. No, it wasn't. Because if my husband, girl, he just don't know how to come home. He be in the clubs and the bars and the juke joint drinking and doing all that. Girl, when you make them greens, put some chamomile in it so you can calm his ass down. What? And when I finally sat in the kitchen, I thought I was grown. I'm all in the conversation. I got my kid. I got my husband. I'm finally at the table. Man, they cursed me out so goddamn bad. I said, I don't want to be at this table. I don't want to be here. But it was a learning experience. It was women teaching women how to be women, women healing women. I never forget, one of the stories, and this is my family, so I can share it, and I don't care. When one of my cousins got touched, and my grandmother and them, oh baby, it was like a quietness in that kitchen. I think everybody might have, at this moment, this is what I felt, right? No spiritual nothing, but like back then, Southern women, they had to be careful of uncle this one, or this uncle, or this one, or this cousin, because, you had them all in your family. But at that moment, I can tell you like it was yesterday. My grandmother was stirring collard greens. My mother was sitting there picking peas because we was on the sides doing them damn chitlins. And everybody got quiet. So I think from that moment, everybody had to remember how they felt when that happened to them, or maybe they knew it was happening to one of their kids, however it is. But everybody at that moment went in their memory, and they came up with an answer. We got you. Move out that damn house starting today. You're not even going back home. They called. I never forget, my mother called my father in there, and they went in the backyard and they talked. And me and my sister-in-law, we like, it's about ready to go down. We thinking it's going to be a fight. But no, they took my uncle and took him to the side. The men did. They didn't beat him. They didn't. They didn't beat him. But they made him go get some help. For real. And it was something. I remember that day.
People don't realize and they don't comprehend the power that, being together as family has. Mm-hmm. This day and age, everybody's in such a hurry to, move the heck out. Nobody wants to sit down for Sunday dinners. Nobody wants to gather around. I'm known for that too. I spent a long time, family get-togethers. Something got to work. I got to take care of the dog. Got to go and do this. So I missed a lot. But as I've gotten older, I've realized that, family is the foundation of everything. They always have your back. They always try to, push you to be better, and back in that day, nothing like it is today. Everybody wants to do their own thing. They want to sit in front of the TV and eat their, whatever, TV dinner, or if they cooked, taking it to their room, It's all single me.
But we try. I will say that. My mother's children, when we all get together, we try. We get, the last one we had, my aunt and all of them, we was all sitting there telling the stories and stuff, and my son and my nephew and all of them was there. And, it is. Every so often we try on holidays. If I'm not there, my daughter and them are there. So we do try. We do try to keep it like my mother did. My mother would have everybody at her house. Everybody was at our house at 110, 13, 160. Everybody, friends, relatives. Now, I always talk about my mom and them, so let me tell you about my daddy. My father had one talent that I give so much credit to. He would get you to laugh at your flaws. When you laughed at your flaws, it didn't hold you back, and the world couldn't make fun of you. I had a friend, right? Still a best friend. Her name is Carol. So she had a big nose, and everybody would crack on her nose. We was young. So my father started calling her Marble Nose. And people would crack jokes. Oh, here come Marble Nose, here come Marble. She'd get so mad. My father would walk in the door and be like, hey, Marble Nose. And my father got older, right? He was in the early stages of dementia. And she got to see him before he passed, when he was in the early stage. He still knew who he was. He still told stories. And so Carol asked him, why did you call me Marble Nose? She was like, he said, I remember one day when someone told you that you had a big nose, you laughed and said, okay, what else? My nose, that means I can smell everything. So what else? Come with something else. And she said, yeah. He said, you never let that flaw bother you, did you? She said, no. He said, when you make fun of things that are on you, the world can't make you feel bad. She said, so you learn to accept it. And Carol was like, thank you, Mr. Billy, and hugged him. And she was like, oh, my God, I love you. And he was like, I love you too, Mom. No. But he would, my pops was a drummer. He was a drummer, and he was spiritual, always. He always played. And when it thundered and lightning, in a Southern woman house, you had to turn off everything. Everything. And don't sit near the windows or the doors because you would get striked. So what my father would do is go get his drum, and he'll sit everybody around, and he'll bang and tell you a story while he hit the drums. It was about spirit. Always about spirit, someone that died, or the great I am, or, he always never did the Jesus thing. He always told about spirit. So he would sit there and tell people, listen. And I remember when I heard Lauryn Hill said it, and I was like, damn, that's my father speaking. Okay. He used to be like, every day people lie to God. Why you don't think they'll lie to you? I said, with Lauryn Hill, and Shirley Chisholm made that song, Forgive Them, Father. And I said, my father say that. And he would. He used to tell people that. So on both sides, I'm very grateful of I used to be, and I'm going to be real with all of y'all, I used to be embarrassed because here my mother, this Southern, Geechee, New Orleans, voodoo lady, and my father, the Moor / Indian, doing all kinds of herbs and stuff. And I used to be like, no, you can't come to my house. My family crazy. I did when I was young, through the ages of, I was in the early 13 from 9 to 13. Oh, I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed. No, I'm not bringing my friends here. They didn't understand. So with my kids, they used to be like, I ain't bringing nobody here. Ain't nobody coming here to see the do not say blah, 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 blah lady. No, because you had to grow into your own, and I didn't appreciate it. I didn't. I did not. I thought it was horrible. Y'all embarrassing me. Why can't we be like regular families where we sit down and eat and we ain't got to talk about somebody that's dead and gone and Nan came to visit you. Nan is dead. I used to be, because it was embarrassing. But when I got older, when I turned 16 and I started understanding, everybody walks into spirituality at their own.
Exactly.
I tell stories to my grandkids so they'll know who they are and where they come from. The same way as my mother and father did. We'll know where you are. So when somebody try to tell you, oh, I see this spirit, you better tell me a name because all my spirits talk. My mama, she came to a misa and said, tell her I said. And the dude is sitting there reading, and he said, hold on, wait. He said, your mother start with a B. Oh my! And nobody didn't know that. So my mother then will let you know. No, tell that heifer I saw her, because she gonna talk. My father's gonna talk. My brother's gonna talk, and they gonna tell you who they are. You might not pronounce the name fully, but they sure gonna let you know. Because you can't come to me and say, Spirit said, who? Which spirit? When they died, they had the name. So don't they get a name in the afterlife? Who I'm call? I said, what's wrong with the world today? We sitting there calling God. You know how many people going to answer the goddamn phone? God. All them are gods. Let's give some names to people. If you walk in the room and say, hey, mama, everybody that got kids going to turn around and look around. Well, who are you talking to? But if you say Anna Mae Bullock, oh, then you talking to me. Okay, then. Let's give these spirits names. Stop running around yelling, Spirit say, I know you lying. I know you lying. Yeah, I do. I get tired of
But Charles Porterfield was just saying, they just had a huge thunderstorm there about an hour ago, and he was yelling at the grandbabies to stay away from the windows.
For real. But my father would play. He would play the drums. I even videoed him in one of my YouTube videos where he's sitting there playing. It was my turn to tell the story, and my daughters and all of them were sitting around. My daughter, my middle child, plays. She loves playing drums. She would bang it out. Now, my granddaughter, my son went and brought her a set of drums. I said, if my father was alive, he would have cried all day, every day. My father died with his drumsticks in his hand, just like he told me he would, right in the bed. He said, don't put me in a home. I said, never, sir. I called my father Sir or Pop. I said, never, sir. He said, when I die, make sure my drumsticks are in my hand. My daughter took a picture of it. So she said, you'll always know you did everything that your father told you to do. And when he died, he had his drumsticks in his hand. He was a drummer by birth, he said. He said he would never he would go to work when he worked for the airlines with his drumsticks under his shoulder, under his arm, walking, and would play. That's all he knew, is to play. And my father gave up drumming when I got born. And I said, Pop, how can you give up something that you love so much? He said, because I never wanted to miss a day without being near you. And I said, wow,
that's so sweet.
Sir. Yeah, he gave it up. He gave it up. He wouldn't play. He went to work. This man has traveled all over the world. He was in the Eboniers. I put up his song every so often because I have the pleasure of knowing that my father has albums out there that I can hear, and I put them up every so often. He did 2 songs. When he first met my mother, he didn't even know her. He was playing at the Zanzibar in Queens, and my mother was a barmaid there. She had came up to New York. I wasn't even born. She came up. She came to see her sisters and them, and she was a barmaid. My father was playing with, back then, he wasn't my godfather. His name was Freddie Hill. God bless his day. He looked at him and said, yo, that's my wife. And he said, man, you don't even know that lady. And when he got up there to sing, he made the song for her, Somewhere in My Heart. And I said, ooh. And then when they got married and had kids, he made a song called She Talked Too Much. But he did. And so there was my son, my grandfather. When he saw my grandmother, he said, that's my wife. When my son, we were sitting in Atlanta at a shop where he used to work at. I hired my son and Teray, his ex-wife now, but before when they got married, he said, y'all got to hire her because that's my wife. And my friend, Billy, was like, nah, man. And I said, you sure? I said, yeah. I said, well, you know, it runs in our family. You always see your other half. And they got together, and they have my granddaughter. And when my son was born, well, when my granddaughter, before she was born, my son kept on saying, I'm having a boy. I said, no, you're not. I'm having a boy. Oh, my goodness. Please, who came to you? You're my Yah? I said, no, you're having a girl. And they did sonograms and everything. Oh, I'm having a boy. I said, you're having a girl. And my mother came to me as clear as day. She said, I don't know the name, but I'll give you the meaning. God sent his angel down here just for you. My granddaughter's name is Ariana. It means God's angel came down to earth to be with you.
Yeah, I was named after St. Michael. I think my mother knew a little something.
Listen, all our parents were spiritual. Some of them was just scared because of the backlash that would happen. And they didn't want you to go through that. They could have went through that, but they didn't. Now, that's the part I get kind of angry with, but it's okay because we got strong backs. We can do it. Listen, when you step in that spiritual world, you better have a strong back, a mind, and everything. You become emotionally. They're in the hospital, they're label you schizophrenic, bipolar, crazy as all out, whatever. Mm-hmm. Spirits and your spirits ain't wrong, right?
Nope, they're not.
They got you here all the way up here to now, correct?
That they do. You know, Candelo, from Candelo's Corner says, he's got to play those songs on its 12 o'clock somewhere. So since he's right there, let me give a shout out to Candelo from Candelo's Corner with his 12 o'clock somewhere on Spreaker.
I love him.
He's been on the radio more years spiritually than anybody else. It's the longest running man I've ever seen.
I love this man. Let me tell you, I did a picture. My grandbaby, my daughter, right, was trying to hide her pregnancy because my grandbaby was turning 1. So I tell her she got ghetto triplets. One is 2, one is 1, and one is a newborn. So I call them ghetto triplets. But my grandbaby was looking between her legs, and she said, no, she's doing gymnastics. I said, I know you lying. That baby looking through her legs because there's another one coming. She took 7 pregnancy tests. All of them came up positive. So Candelo was talking, and he said, listen, I know you Southern. And he gave me my first shot to get up on his radio show. He said, listen, I'm going to give you one shot. I ain't going to help you, but I'll open the door. And I always made that hashtag, Candelo will make you famous. And he did. He really did. He reached out to make sure that us new readers had a platform where we can go and show our stuff. People would. If you walk in the room, people overlook me. They do. They say, well, she don't read. She don't do that. And they'll go to the next one. One lady walked past my shop and said, oh, you black. You don't know how to read. I said, oh, okay.
And I love that man.
Yeah. So he did. I give him massive props. That's my homeboy. Everything. Even if he do wrong, I'm still going to stand there and say, not my homeboy. I know you lying. I don't give a fuck now. Maybe behind closed doors. Why you do that? God damn it. We got to fix this. But He ain't do shit. Don't be playing. Don't be messing with him. That's my homeboy. But yeah, that's my dog for real. He did. He looked out. When we was young Wilsons, I never forget when I was going in to do my ceremony. My godmother, my madrina, said when they was doing all prayers, and she said, pray for Candelo too, because he over there in Cuba, and he's that's her friend, that's her brother. She done adopted him, so y'all make sure y'all pray for him too. Man, I'm telling you, he would talk to me, everything, man. Oh my goodness. My initiation, I love it. I love it. I never met fearful ultra all day, every day. I'm grateful. But I believe they had to knock me down and break everything that I had. So this way I can enjoy everything I'm about to get. But he did. Him, his goddaughters, all of them. They came in and, I had my godparents and I had them, but I also had them too. And like I said, a couch, maybe it's heavy when you lift it by itself. You're going to move it, but it's heavy. But when you got everybody lifting it, man, that's the easiest shit in the world. So I got to say, first of all, I never forget those that put our chair on my head, but I'm not going to forget those that kept me sane and not jumping off the ledge when it was those days. I just needed someone. And when I tell you Spirit had us all connected, they would hit me up. You okay? Hey, you doing good? So, and you need that. You need a community. Yes. When you're going through these things. And I had that. So, listen, them I love. I do. What? TTG, I'm trained to go. Don't come after them because I'm coming too. We're going to ride together. What? We don't fold. We fight. So.
Well, speaking of community, Conjure Gala. The Mile High Conjure Gala is coming up in September. You can find out information on conjuregala.com.
I'm going with twin. Professor Porterfield, I'm going there to be with him, my twin.
So you're going to see Loretta Leedsman, Candelo. You're going to see Elaine Bryan and Beverly Smith, Professor Ames, of course, Charles Porterfield, Ambrosine Laguerre, Michelle Jackson, Michael Cardenas, Hoodoo Senmois, as well as Miss Aida. And that is going to be one phenomenal week.
Yeah, it is. It's my first time, so I'm open.
And for those looking, you can find out information on conjuregala.com, coming up on Candelo's birthday weekend.
For real?
He just posted that in the chat room, that it's on his birthday weekend.
Ooh, we got a party.
So, yeah, that's going down.
We got a party. I don't drink. Listen, they took alcohol from me. I can't drink and I can't smoke and I can't drive. They took those things away from me.
And, it's a gathering of really great, authentic, real, down-to-earth, conjurers, hoodoo workers, spiritualists that live the real everyday life that these, traditions were founded on. And it's going to be a phenomenal weekend. I do want to thank a few of the people in our chat room because, we have Professor Charles Porterfield, Adriana Roman, Wilma Wilson. We've got Candelo Cambisa, Mel Bright. We have Dawn Yamayasita Colon, Nikita Sumara, Ambrosine Laguerre, of course, Jeremy Luwathi, and I'm probably pronouncing that incorrectly, Christine Tagler, and Yvette. And Ambrosine says that she will drink for you at the gala.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
It's Cadelo also says that it's St. Michael and Gabriel feast days. And I think it's going to be a beautiful and a wonderful time, going down there. Now, you also have ways that people can connect with you, contact you. I know you have the Love Supplies Botanica. Where is that located? So if our audience members are in that area.
If you are in Queens, it is located at 8902 165th Street in the Coliseum Mall. If you need to email me, it's lovesuppliesbotanica, all one word, @gmail.com. And you can catch me on Wednesdays on Facebook Live at 3 o'clock, Conversations with Ifa Abeyo, and you catch me on Mondays on Instagram at 3 o'clock. Conversations with Ifa Abeyo. And WordPress.
And yes, you have the Love Supplies Botanica.wordpress.com.
Yeah, that is correct.
And I love listening to your conversations. You bring so much depth, about community and, as Candela has says, fuckery, because, unfortunately that does happen within traditions, and the need to be able to, ask questions, look around, invest in yourself enough to ask questions. And if you can't get those questions answered, find somebody that can. Nobody should not answer questions that you have, regarding initiation, whether it's how much it's going to cost, what it is that you need, how things are going to work. Ask pertinent questions, because if they can't answer you, you don't want to be going there.
Mm-hmm. That is true.
And I think often, we get blindsided and we just said, I got to do this. I got to do this. I got to do that. And we forget that, there's also protocol, mm-hmm. So go and have a reading, go and sit with your babalao and, mm-hmm. Have them divine and see, is this a path I should be taking? Because sometimes, sometimes what we want is not what we're supposed to be doing, no matter how much we might love it.
Hey, the Risha gives us, because what I want so much, I do. I want a lot. But the Risha and the Spirit give you what you need. Exactly.
And it's not always, you can't have everything that you want. You can certainly get it.
John Mason said, ain't no use you putting furniture in your house that you don't need. If you got 50 chairs in your house and you only got one ass, what you need 50 chairs for? Hey?
But it's the truth. There are people out there that are, title people. Yeah. They've got to have, a title for everything. They've got to have the piece of paper. They've got to have a certification. They've got to have, an entire wall full of, look at all that I have. Mm.
Like I said, what's the use of you having 50 chairs and you only got one ass? So
exactly.
It makes no sense. It makes no sense. And then you have all of these things and you don't even know how to work it or know what it is, but you just got it because you want to be better or you want that title. Yeah, nah. Man gives titles. I don't have time for that. I don't. Man gives titles. I don't need titles.
As spiritual... as spiritual people and, people that have been initiated, it's not to be entered into lightly. I mean, this is a lifelong commitment. It's not a...
that you go pick it up Monday and put it down Thursday. Yeah, heavy the head that wears that crown. Listen.
You can't.
Listen, but people think it's easy. Why? Because now I understand when I was asking people, well, what do you do? What you got to do? What? Shh. That's all they say. Shh.
Yep.
He's like, no, I want to know. Like, what's the next step? And, shh. And now I understand. You don't need to know everything. The ear never goes above the head. So relax. Everything will come to you in divine time. Relax.
And it's a process.
Yeah. Oh, sure. Tell me about it.
You have to learn. No, it's not. And, you have to learn to walk before you can run. And before you can learn to walk, you have to learn to crawl. And when I say crawl, I mean, you have to be humble. You have to sit at the feet of your godparents. You have to listen. You have to sometimes not say a single thing and just watch. And there's a lot that you learn. Anyway. Oh, man, I'm screwed. No.
You're a baby. All you do is sit there and be quiet. So that's beautiful. It works.
Yeah.
It's more being said in silence than it is in anything.
And there's more that you can learn by watching.
See how that works?
When you get the mouth in the way, the eyes don't always see. It's like the three monkeys.
Mm-hmm.
I got my mouth covered, but I can still see and I can still hear.
Mm-hmm.
I got my eyes closed, but I can still talk and I can still hear, but I don't see anything going on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but we learn in a lot of different ways, and being silent is one of those ways. You know, my godmother used to never let me ask her questions. She'd be like, shh.
That's it. That's it. They tell you watch. Just watch. Don't say nothing. You be like, okay, damn, alrighty. But you'll learn more.
And you do.
You'll take it in. And hands-on. Because some people learn better hands-on. And some people learn, everyone learns differently. Some people learn through stories. Some people learn hands-on. Some people learn for, giving them like A, B, C, go left, go right, do this, do that. Mechanic, method, whatever. My English is not that great. But, everyone has different ways of learning. And that's where your godparents come in, because they have to see that, and they have to go where you are so you can learn and grasp the information.
Exactly. I was always hands-on. It's like, I worked with my godmother, my madrina, in her botanica for like 12, 15 years. And it was always hands-on. Every day I had off from my normal job, I was there. Open to close, I was there. Helping her with putting together the baths, the products, everything I learned, she made me do.
There you go. And it's better. I bet you remember it.
I do.
You could do it with your eyes closed.
Yes, because I can smell. And a lot of it was sense, too. It's like, I know what this is supposed to smell like, and I draw upon, oh, wait a minute, something's missing. Oh, yes, I remember what it was, because, it's the scent. And
there you go.
We never talked.
No.
We would talk about other things.
Your phone is turned off. You better, you suit up, boot up, and let's go to work.
And that's what we did. And we would talk about a lot of other stuff.
Yes.
But when it came to doing the actual work and the preparations, or the spiritual work, or the candles, or, whatever it was, there was always silence.
Mm-hmm. But I love it. I had the pleasure and the honor of working in the kitchen, being coming in that role of an petit B and working with the babalaos. Oh, man. But you got to pay attention. You got to listen, be on point, clean, like, You're doing so many things but it's so beautiful. I love it. I love being a petit B. I love it. I love it. I love it. Some people be like, oh, they the slaves. They not the slaves. They're not. And I love it. I love it. I love working anything spiritual. I don't have a problem cleaning the bathroom, cleaning the kitchen, plucking chickens. I don't care what it is. I'm going to do it. Show me what I need to do and let me rock and roll. I don't have a problem with it. I love it, because you're giving birth, or you're helping someone to move to that next level. So I would love to be a part of it. So, I love it. I love it each and every time. I
loved it. And, I was my godmother's like right-hand person. Mm-hmm. And even when she did ceremonies and there was a mess, I'm the first person, right on the ground, right on my knees. Let me get this cleaned up. Let me pull all this. And
no, it's a lot of us. I'm not that. It's a lot of us, but we all chip in. We all do what needs to be done, and she's the mom, she's crowned Yemaya, Mefia Fun Yemaya all day. My other godmother is crowned Oshun. My godfather in Ifa, he's a Babalao, but before he became a Babalao, he's crowned Shango, Cabo Sile. So I give them respect. My god sisters, god brothers, we all, when it comes down, we walk in my godmother's house, you're one body, and you move as such. And I love it. I do. I love it. I'm grateful.
I always thought it was a blessing to do a lot of that cleanup.
Mm-hmm. Because you have to be a part of it.
I'm cleaning up, the feathers, the blood, the flower petals, you name it. It's on the floor, it's on the ground. I'm just mopping it all up. And never a complaint. We had a couple people in the house that, oh, why do I got to do that? I was just like, well, if you got to ask, maybe you shouldn't be here. Yeah. Because, it is a blessing. I mean, these are all beautiful traditions. And, being a part of any ritual or service, cleansing, misa, or anything else, I mean, it's an absolutely beautiful thing. And if you're not giving of yourself from your heart, what are you going to get? spirit-wise. Spirit's going to look at your heart. They're going to know exactly why you're there, what you're doing. They know where your heart is. And if it's true, Spirit elevates you and blesses you anyway.
Listen, I and my sister is on there, Amber Jean. When you follow your spirit and you take care of your spirits will take care of you. That is fact. And Amber Jean wasn't even there. So a Baba came by, crowned 33 years. Obatala, Ekuwa Baba. And he said something, and I said, no, that's Amber Jean, and she wasn't even there. And it was so amazing to know that your heart, your character speaks for you when you're not around. Oh my gosh. I love people on how they are in front of my face, but I love them more when they're better behind my back. That's where the true character and loyalty lies. I just thought I'd throw that in there because just when you said a good heart and all of that, I had to share, oh wow.
The Spirit does. We all know that there are people that get into traditions for one reason or another, whether it is Spirit pushing them and guiding them to it, or whether it is something that they just want, or they're looking for the fame or the title. But when you're doing it from your heart, it makes absolutely no difference.
Everyone comes through spirituality. So this is my story, and I can finally share it. They diagnosed me with cancer. I didn't want to die. That's all. That's all I thought about. I didn't want to die. I got diagnosed when I was in Atlanta, and it was 2007. I had surgery after surgery. I came to New York. They was giving me all these surgeries. I had long locks. They would come out by patches. And my niece and all of them was scared. And I told my brother, I said, I can't die here in New York. So I left. I left and went back to Atlanta and changed my life and all of that. But it still wasn't enough. So, you get into denial and everything. So I started finding the path of the Orisha, right? And I met this guy named Angel, and, he took me to all these, people and stuff, and I'm grateful because of him. I met the people that I'm with now. That's the only thing I'm ever grateful for of him. And when I was receiving Kofa, I didn't tell anyone. I was going for surgery and stuff. And I'll never forget, she wasn't my madrina then. She said, I hate that if you have to get crowned to save your life, I'll be mad. Not knowing that that's what was happening. So when I received Kofa, my godfather and my Jabona, my other godfather in Ifa, he sat there. I had 5 Babalaos that did my ceremony. 2 was outside, 3 was in the room with me. He said, call them all in. They walked in. He said, listen, they told you had cancer. I said, yeah. He said, Oshun will save your life. Mefia Fun Oshun. And they did a whole ceremony for me. When I was sitting under the throne, everybody was talking about what they wanted to take away, what they wanted to do. I had one prayer in my head. Let me live to see my grandkids finish college. Let me live to see this day. Don't crown me and let me die. Because then the only one that's going to look crazy is y'all. That was the only prayer I said in my head. I didn't share it with nobody. When I sat on that mat on Monday to get my Ita, Allegro was the first one that said, I will heal you of everything that is sickening to you. Oshun said, I will take care of everything. You will not be sick. When the 3rd month of me being a Yawo, I went to the doctor. The doctor said, scratching her head, she said, they say you got cancer, but I don't see none. I was so happy. I called my godmother. I said, hold on, listen. And the doctor told her that. And from then on, no one on this planet can tell me that the Orisha is not real. But also, we all have our own way of getting there. That's mine. And you can sign it, seal it, deliver it. They can say 50 million people. But I know everyone that walked with me knew my story. And that was their thing. I had got 7 surgeries in less than 2 years.
Beautiful story. We do all come to... whatever spiritual walk of life, in our own time, but it also comes from the heart. You also wanted to see your family. You wanted to see your kids grow up. You wanted to live, a beautiful life. Spirit looks at that. They look at your heart. I'm moved every single time I hear, stories of the Orisha. Every time I hear, actually, whether it's the Orisha, the Loa, any spiritual tradition, when I hear stories like that, it moves my heart, because...
I saw my godfather on Sunday. They had a crowning, Shango Cabo Sile. And I had to tell him. And he said, no, now. He said, because now the tree is coming together. He said, share it. He said, don't give thanks to me. He said, me fia funa rula. He said, but me fia funa shuna, me fia funa legua. He was like, but now you share it. He said, now, because I wanted them to know first before I told anybody else. Here and there, I would let it slip, but now you can hear my story. Because I knew I had surgeries after surgeries after surgeries. So yes, Orisha saved my life. So when people go, oh, but I know someone, you can proudly say Ifa Abeyo, which my name means a ruler choose me from birth. One birth, that's all they needed. And the diviner. So, y'all don't have to say, oh, well, I know someone. No, Ifa Abeyo, she was dying. Because I sure was. I was getting surgery after surgery after surgery. You don't know how. In every place. My leg, my foot. I wanted to get a tattoo because it looks like a vine going up my foot. When we go to the Conjure Gala, I'll show y'all. But I wanted to get a tattoo, but since I'm the daughter of a goon, I can't get tattoos. So whatever I got now, I'm stuck with. So, yeah. No. They didn't take so much, but they took things that, that I needed to go away. Drinking, smoking, to save my life. I can't drive because I get visions. And if I'm behind the wheel, I have no control over my vision. So me be dead, be a collision, the whole nine. So I don't drive. And I don't drink. I don't smoke. So, and it works for me. It works for me. Listen, I can't miss nothing.
And you don't eat meat. And, it's like, man, I can't wait till they tell me what I can't do.
Oh, listen, do everything now.
I am.
Everything. I'm telling y'all people, do everything. Whatever it is, if you eat oranges, eat those shits till you die. Eat everything. But they didn't take too much stuff away from me, but they took enough. They took enough. But they took the things that weren't good for you. That's the thing, I can't eat with a fork. So even if someone puts it on the plate, I'll be like, yo, take the whole shit. So all of y'all know I cannot eat with a fork. And if y'all don't have forks, don't worry. I pack my own spoons. I can't eat with a fork. But it works for me. It works for me.
And as long as it does, and you're happy, you're healthy, you're living a great life. You've got your grandkids,
I'm here.
An absolutely beautiful story.
Do everything, boo-boo. Do everything. Have fun. Do everything. Eat it all. Have fun. Drink. Be merry. Because you never know what's going to go. So do it all. Do it all. Do it all. Enjoy now.
And Delo said they took away eggs and bananas. Shit my fabs. But, it's, we often don't think about, the reasons why all the time when you receive your ita or you receive, a book that tells you, hey, these are things that you can't do.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
All the beautiful things you can do.
Oh, yeah.
So everybody they look at, oh my God, it's, I can't do this. And I would say, well, what can you do? Oh, I can do this. Girl, please, child. You good.
Right. We focus on the, oh my God, I can't do this again. Mm-hmm. Are you really going to miss it?
Listen, I did enough when I was young. So I now help me to stay here and have fun. I can enjoy the other stuff. I didn't did all the crooked stuff. So I might as well learn how to do the correct stuff, the right stuff, the legal stuff. So it works for me. And
as long as it does, we're going to be wrapping up today. I wanted to see if you wanted to say our final goodbyes to everybody, for joining us in our chat room and listening to us live with Ifa Abeyo, who has been absolutely fabulous, and I've enjoyed having her on. And I know it's a little different than our normal shows, but, I kind of really felt that this was an incredible choice to have you on.
Honey, thank you. And to everybody, Candelo, Embrazine, Motown Witch, everybody. And if I didn't say your name, charge it to my head and not my heart, because y'all are all there. But I thank y'all all. It was an amazing thing. Thank you for just being a part of my life, the journey. Divination Table, I love y'all all. Oh, my God. Y'all are so amazing. Thank you, having little old me, this little red dirt, barefoot, special craziest cat shit girl on your show.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
Thank you, Courtney. Thank you.
And you're a beautiful person and a beautiful, soul. And, I love you. I'm going to be putting up your contact information on the divinationtable.com, along with your little bio, so that if anybody wants to reach out to you and get a hold of you for a reading, or if they're in the area and they want to have, cleansings or a bath, they'll be able to reach out to you.
Thank you. Oh, you are so beautiful. Thank you.
I try. So I give back to the communities that give back to me, because, without them, I wouldn't be where I am. I wouldn't be who I am.
May Oshun bless you and sweeten your days every day. And may Ogun take care of your enemies and protect you. For the same knife that goes out and kills and destroys is the same knife that put food on the table. So may your table never be empty. Okay, Puddin'?
I love that. I was waiting, I was waiting the whole show for you just to call me Puddin'. Because you say it all the time when we talk. And I was like, man, gone the whole show and she hasn't really said it. Well, I want to thank everybody for joining us live on the Divination Table radio show, and all of our wonderful and great audiences, and the people that joined us in chat. May you have a beautiful week, a beautiful day, and we will see you next week on the Divination Table.